Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into Lucknow, a city that our sources paint as this really vibrant mix of old and new. We've got quite a bit of material here exploring its history, its culture, the food, which sounds amazing, by the way, and the arts. So, our mission really is to figure out what makes Lucknow tick. How does its past shape what it is today? Let's get into it.
Absolutely. And what's striking from the sources is how Lucknow's history isn't just, monuments you visit. It feels alive. It's woven into daily life, the architecture. People call it the City of Nawabs, right?
Hmm.
Known for elegance. But there's this interesting blend of that tradition with, well, modern life, too.
Okay, so this living history, where did the sources say it really started? Who were the main players shaping it early on?
Well, it really goes back to the Nawabs of Awadh. They shifted their capital to Lucknow in the 18th century. That was key. And you could literally see the echoes of that time today. I mean, you walk around and there are these incredible sites, like the Bara Imambara huge complex apparently has this amazing labyrinth inside, the Bulbulaya.
Oh, I read about that.
Yeah. And the Rumi Darwaza, that huge gateway, very ornate, plus the Chota Imambara, famous for its chandeliers and decoration. These places aren't just old buildings. They really show the ambition and style of that era.
That paints a really clear picture. But it sounds like Lucknow is more than just grand buildings. The culture itself seems unique. Our sources kept highlighting this sense of Hindu-Muslim unity, temples, mosques, gurdwaras, all seemingly coexisting. And festivals like Muharram or Holi aren't just for one group. They're described as like citywide events.
Exactly. And it's presented not just as tolerance, but as this deep-seated cultural thing, a shared heritage. It really shapes the city's spirit. It's a powerful example of how different traditions can actually enrich each other, not just exist side by side.
And that cultural richness seems to spill over into the arts too, right? The sources point to Lucknow as the home of Urdu poetry, the Shari, and Kathak dance. Even this old storytelling form, Dastangoy. You can almost imagine these poetry gatherings, the musharas, or the expressiveness of Kathak. It sounds quite captivating.
It really does. And what's interesting is how these arts are linked to Lucknow's adab.
Adab.
Yeah, it's like this ingrained politeness, etiquette, a sort of cultural refinement. It's not just about manners, it's deeper. And these art forms, they really nurture that. It makes Lucknow this hub for classical arts, where refinement is just part of the air you breathe.
That makes sense, and I bet that refinement extends to the food,
That's
because the sources rave about it.
Oh, absolutely. You can't talk Lucknow without the food.
We saw mentions of tunde kebabi, those famous kebabs,
Oh,
and the galawadi kebab, the one that supposedly melts in your mouth.
legend has it, yeah. Made for a Nawab who couldn't chew well.
Mm-mm.
But it's more than just kebabs. There's the Lucknowi biryani, which is distinct. Kulcha nahari for breakfast. Even this dessert called nimish sounds very light and frothy.
Sounds incredible.
It really is. And they talk about the azaika, the unique taste. It's like the food itself carries the history, that luxurious Nawabi past. It's a whole culinary story.
And speaking of crafts and artistry, Chikankari embroidery kept coming up.
Yes, you have to mention Chikankari. It's world famous.
This incredibly delicate hand embroidery on fabrics. The sources mention seeing it everywhere in markets like Hazrat Ganj and Aminabad.
Right. It's beautiful, intricate work. And it's more than just pretty cloth. It's really a symbol of Lucknow's artistic heritage, a major traditional craft. And importantly, it's a living tradition supporting artisans passed down through generations.
So we've got this deep history, rich culture, amazing food, intricate crafts. How does all that fit with Lucknow today? The sources also talk about it becoming a smart city, new flyovers, a metro system, modern developments. How does that balance out?
That's the fascinating part, isn't it? How does the city modernize without losing its soul? And Lucknow seems to be navigating that. For instance, you've got modern infrastructure going up. But at the same time, there are efforts mentioned to support traditional things like Chikankari through government schemes or design schools. So it's not about discarding the past. It seems they're trying to carry forward that tehzeeb, that unique culture and etiquette alongside the modern growth. It's a tricky balance, but quite remarkable.
It really does sound like a city with so many layers. You get the sense that every street, every building, even every dish has a story behind it.
Yeah, exactly. One source summed it up beautifully, saying something like, Lucknow is not just a city, it's an emotion, something that finds a special place in your heart when you visit.
That's a lovely way to put it. So for you listening, what part of this deep dive into Lucknow really struck a chord? Or maybe it makes you think what other cities manage this kind of blend, balancing an ancient soul with a modern beat, always changing but holding on to what makes them unique. Something to